How's the audio? Paul, say hi real quick.
Howdy.
Carol, say hi real quick.
Hi, real quick.
Hello.
And me saying hello real quick. Everybody hear us okay? Aloha from Oahu. Oahu?
Oahu.
Okay. Oahu.
Honolulu.
David Devine, thumbed up. Robot, thumbed up. Punisher, yes. Thank you very much. Texas Farmer, thank you very much. Sounds perfect, they say. And hopefully this year we don't have Joe Biden saying, come on, man. Sorry about that. That was the notifications on my cell
We're trying to
phone.
clean ourselves up here this
And
time.
I'm using a different phone this time to do this, so we shouldn't have that problem. Okay, we got 50 people in here, so let's start with the questions. Anybody got any questions out there? Actually, I'm going to start off with, I saw your tank, and you came down and met us when Baby Girl and I showed up. It's awesome. When I edit all this together, there will be footage right there. And then I saw the bathroom remodel for, being easily accessible. Oh, and the fence. So the money from the GoFundMe, I think it was, is being put to good work.
Thank you,
Yes.
right?
Amen.
It's been such a blessing, you guys. We really are grateful for you contributing to our need, and we're excited about the potential that we're going to have now to have our fruit and have our veggies, and hopefully whoever's going to end up coming here to do like a CSA or some kind of garden, they're going to be grateful too.
Do you have somebody set up to do that?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah,
There's been quite a few people that offered at first, but it just hasn't felt right. The only
Right.
person that we really like to have here is in Israel. So we have 8 children now, having your 9th. So I have to find a rental. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're still looking for, someone to come help out with the garden maybe from time to time?
Yeah, or even live here and do a CSA and whatever, right? Just to use the property. We like to have
And
them
CSA is what, like...
Community supported agriculture.
So that's if you're growing some food and stuff,
You can sell
and
it.
you can,
They
like,
can sell it.
you have people that just come and they're on a
I think it'd be cool to have like
subscription program kind of for carrots.
Could be. I think it'd be cool to have like even a stand out here, I don't know how much the neighbors would like it, but to have it be available to folks, We've got to rebuild our cooler, but after that, I think it'd be nice to have it available to people, as well as if they want to do, Wednesday, Sunday, Saturday market, whatever.
The is it GoFundMe? Is that the one, or is it it's not a Kickstarter. Is it?
Oh,
It's
you're
GoFundMe.
talking about
right?
it's called Give, Send, Go.
Give, Send, Go.
Yeah,
That's still open.
it
Have
is.
we hit the goal? Okay.
It is. Yeah, it hasn't hit the goal yet.
Okay. Let's see here. Larry DeForest. Hi, so great to see Paul and Carol online. I rewatch many of your YouTube videos. Thanks for all of your advice and spiritual thoughts too. Hi from Massachusetts. Pearls and lipsticks, huh? Donald Kenning. I know this name. Why do I know this name? Huh. Oh, hello there. Just got here. Hi, Paul, Carol, and that noob.
That
Nub.
what? That noob?
Noob. Noob is someone who's new at a game. Nub is non-useful body. And that's
really?
what I was when I first started doing survivalism.
Non-useful body?
Yeah, so it's a gaming thing. I used to play video games almost professionally. No, but I spend enough time to do it professionally. And when you need 20 people to go somewhere and you only have 19, you're like, you come here, stand in the corner, do nothing. You're a non-useful body. You just kind of be here. Okay. And so, I don't know. It was my
you're
tag.
pretty useful, though.
Yeah. Okay. Does Paul have any tips on writing? Reading. Okay, cool. Does Paul have any tips on ridding your garden of Bermuda grass, crabgrass?
Yeah, the
How
only
about
tip
it?
I know is to pull it out and get rid of it, because otherwise, if you leave anything, it's coming back. So you got to be diligent. But here's how you deal with it. You don't take out the whole thing out at once. Take a section, clear it out, plant your garden, and just keep progressing, and just stay on top of it. It's called diligence.
Now, with that, because we have that in our property, and if you pull it out, you have to get all of the root,
Yes, I'm saying all of it.
it's
So
going
get
to
an
come
asparagus
back.
knife, get down underneath it, and make sure you get it all.
And it travels.
It does,
like
yeah.
mycelium. I mean, it goes forever
It does, yeah.
underground, and then just re-roots and re-roots and re-roots. So you just have to keep getting out there, and every
Yeah.
time you see it, just pull it.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. And that
It's kind of like with what did you have out there, thistle or something out in your pasture?
we
Yeah,
still
we
have
have
lots of thistle at the end of
You,
that.
you were spending a couple of years or something pulling
Yeah,
all
but I
that
got
out
it all.
over and over whenever you would see it. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
only
give
way
it
to
a
get
dry
rid
rub.
of it.
Yeah, it's really bad there right now. I keep thinking I gotta go do it.
So I did see one YouTube that suggested that sweet potatoes outcompeted crabgrass. Somebody had
Really?
found that and had planted sweet potato around the edge of their yard under wood chips and found that
Yeah,
it's worth it. It's possible.
I don't know. We can't grow sweet
I'll give it a
potatoes here.
shot.
You can, but they're like little tiny.
They don't get
We've
normal
done it.
size.
It just doesn't. They're kind of
They need more heat.
fun. They're kind of fun, but they don't really produce.
What about chickens? Chickens will take care of them, right?
Chickens are good for clearing space. You can put a fenced area in, and the chickens will take everything out. They're the best.
Well, pigs are the best, and goats. Because I don't think chickens will eat thistle.
No.
Yeah,
What happened? No, he was showing me a link to the video he was talking about sweet potatoes. I'll put a link in the description for the video on that sweet potato thing if I get it. Let's see here. Where were we? There, crabgrass. Okay. I would check with Joel Salatin intern program. There may be a graduate looking for a farming opportunity. That's a good idea. You know who Joel Salatin? Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Of course you do, because of the
Yeah, he wrote the forward to the
Well,
book, and I was
yeah.
over there and met him
yeah.
last year.
So he might have a graduate of one of his programs that's looking for somewhere too.
Maybe I'll call him.
Yeah,
Or you
that's a
can call
good
him.
idea.
Oh, you can go. That's fine. You
Must be nice to
No,
just
but
be
he
able
knows
to pick
who
up
you
the
are.
phone and call Joel Salatin. Must be nice.
It's not that big of a deal.
You
Yeah.
call him. His wife will answer. He won't.
She's great, though. I met her. She's really sweet. I think I could be a friend of hers. We connected pretty good.
Oh, that's why I was like, why do I know Donald Kenning? That name sounds familiar. I did a video at his house like 5 years ago.
Oh.
That's funny. Well, hi, how's it going? He's the one that was telling me that like you need a lot of sprays and stuff like that to take care of pests, especially over in eastern Washington where all the grapes and apples and everything like that are grown. But you don't need sprays. What you need is a pest management system. And what can be considered a pest management system is having ladybugs, having praying mantises, having snakes to eat certain spiders or whatever. And if you use a natural pest management system, then you're not going to be spreading aphids or whatever from your couple trees that you have in your yard over to the orchards across the way. And so that was something that I kind of learned from him. And so when the wife's like, how come you're not moving all those rocks and stuff? There's just a bunch of bugs and snakes and all kinds of... And I'm like, oh, that's my pest management system right there. Yeah, don't worry about that, pal. Okay, let's see. I can say on Bermuda grass, I've been able to rid it with a lot of hand labor.
Yeah.
Yep.
A 4-pronged garden turner that I can twist the rhizomes loose with and then hand separate them. Oh, that sounds like a
Yes.
lot of work.
Yeah, but once you get it, you should
Once
be
you
able
get
to
it, you
make
get it.
easier. Because it's not Bermuda grass. grass.
Thank
Grass
you,
is
and God bless you guys. Paul had quack grass.
pretty nasty out there.
Paul looks to not have aged at all. You know
I
what? That's pretty close.
That's
I
him.
was watching some videos from way, way back, and you don't look too awful different.
I know, isn't it
Yeah.
crazy? Now he looks younger than me, and he's 3 years older. It's no fair.
Let's see.
Kombucha.
That's the secret to your...
That's part of it.
That's
I
why
think.
my hair doesn't turn gray.
And you don't need a bunch of junk usually.
And I eat good food.
Yeah. Unless I give it to
I
him. he doesn't
basically
really
graze during the day. I just go outside my garden and eat. You know, just that's what's there.
Mhm.
In Hawaii, we are able to grow just about anything, but we have many lava rocks, making it hard to break up the soil. Should we remove them before laying down the mulch?
No, because the rocks are minerals. They're really powerful for your plants. So just put the wood chips on top. You'll start creating soil on top, and the rocks are great.
So all those people out there that are tilling up the
Wow.
ground just that one last time to get rid of the rocks
It's wrong.
is wrong, because rocks are concentrated
if you-
minerals.
Well, it depends on the size of the rock. You have to be able to.
if you drive along mountain passes and you look along the side of the road, these beautiful dark green pines and firs and hemlocks growing out of solid rock. Rocks are minerals. That's what the most basic thing to health.
Thomas Lee says, hello. Do you still have your air split? Oh, wow. Okay, that's from a different video.
What?
I have that thing, an air splint. It's basically kind of like a cast sleeve thing that you can put, like a bicycle tire, pump it up. Yes, I still have that. It's in a box somewhere in my shipping container, and I will one day for you, Thomas Lee. I will make that video, but I got to find it first and have time. And this video isn't going to be out for probably a month or two, and so that's about how far out my thinking is for an air splint video. But I am impressed that you have spent all this time, all these years. It's been about 10 years
Wow.
that this person's been on me to do a
Wow.
video about this air splint.
Really?
I will do it. Let's see, you both are such a blessing in more ways than one. I'm not able to get down and plant in the ground like I used to. Question, if using an above ground garden would the wood chips work the same if you fill the whole container with wood chips?
No, you gotta have soil. Wood chips are, breaking down to soil, but they're not there yet. You need to have soil.
So if you're going to do like a raised garden bed, which we don't like because of the wind being able to hit it,
Dry
the
out
sun
somewhere,
being
yeah.
able to hit it, and not really being in the ground. But if you were going to do it, I've seen a lot of people in the permaculture space put down like some logs or something for filler. And we're talking if you're going like a 4 foot high bed. Put some filler in, like logs and stuff like that. They'll break down, kind of hugelkultur. Then put in your just kind of any kind of dirt in there. Then put in your topsoil, and then go ahead and plant and put your wood chips on top of that topsoil, and that should do it. I mean, that's basically what you do with your potted plants, right? You have your potting soil in there, and then you cover all of them with a layer of wood chips, right? Or at least outside. I know that you used to. You got leaves on them right now.
Yeah.
See, the advantage of wood chips is as water goes through it, it creates compost tea. So your soil is always being upgraded with food, with
Nutrients.
nutrients, and that's the beauty of it, because everything turns back to dirt. It's just a great design God made in nature. Nothing's wasted. Everything turns back to dirt, and so as it composts and water goes through it, it's constantly feeding the soil. When you have exposed soil and plants take out nutrients, nothing goes back, so you have a deficit.
Let's see. Bless both of you. Clayton Turner, would you need someone to help with the garden in late November? I will be in Sequim, Washington around that time for a week or two. So late November, what do you have going on? Do you have any cleanup or anything going on?
I don't know, but have him call me, prior to him getting here, and I can tell him.
And how would he call you? I know I did a video about this just a couple days ago.
360-683-4477.
Okay. So that is the phone number to get a hold of Paul. Leave a message, and I am proof that he will call back.
And also it's on the Back to Eden website that's not ours, but it's...
And I think I just put up a video like a week ago about how to contact Paul Gautschi.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That's where you got the number. Yes, it worked. I have one person who watched that video.
Thank you.
Okay.
One person.
Back to it.
Don't despise the days of small beginnings.
Yahweh bless and shalom. Yahweh
bless.
bless, shalom.
Shalom. Who's that?
I lost it. Wanda or Otero. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda.
Keep up your hard work. See, Wanda. Hello from Puerto Rico. That's where Wanda's at.
Hey, Wanda.
I love your family. Keeping up with Melina. Hi, would you know anything about using expanded slate pebbles in the soil to keep voles from eating the roots of the plants?
No. My approach to voles and moles is to catch them and get rid of them. They can't live here.
And what is it you use to catch them with?
I use a Victor mole trap, and it's totally effective. It's the only trap that works. And it's really, but you got to know how to set it. Most people don't know how to set the trap. And I'll tell you how, because it's really very simple. When you find a mole hole, you dig down, and you want to find a tunnel, and actually, hole going both, a tunnel. And what you do is you take dirt and you pack back into both ends of that tunnel, and you bring it right to the level of the top of that tunnel. And you put the trap right over it. So as the mole comes through and pushes dirt, it triggers a trap. And I catch them every time. I've caught so many moles. I've caught so many moles here. It's awesome. I get every one. They can't live here.
Okay.
You also have a backup system with the cat.
What's that?
You also have a backup
system with the cat, but the cat's,
The one that's out there right now is not the greatest hunter. I mean, she's okay, but we don't use these outside. These guys stay in the house.
The cats are well fed, so they're just,
They still get shrews. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They're so funny. They keep bringing shrews in. At least the one does.
But that is kind of an interesting idea of putting some, like, rocks or something down where they would be tunneling anyway. And they're still going to come through?
They'll go around it.
Okay.
Their rocks don't stop them. The thing is, you don't want them here. So I don't want to deter them. I want to get rid of them.
Love the new video garden tour for the 50,000 subs 6 years ago. Paul looks the same. Yeah, we just hit 50,000 subscribers, so I put that video out, and I don't know. It's one of the older videos. It's from like 2016 or something like that. Yeah, it's got some age to it. Let's see. Shalom, Paul and Carol from somewhere. From Canada. Thank you both for your generosity and your time and hearts.
You're welcome.
What are the cats' names?
My cat's names?
Yeah. Ruba wants to know.
Eleazar, we call him Azar. He's the part bobcat. And then we have Za'atar, which is a wonderful herb from Israel, the Middle East. And he's Savannah, which is part African serval.
Then we have Fig outside.
Yeah, we have Figgy. She's a big puffball. What do they call him? What kind of cat is she?
I don't remember.
Anyway, she's a really expensive cat, and she doesn't want to live in the house. She likes outside, and it's so crazy because she's bright white, and nothing's ever gotten her. I'm so grateful. She's a ragdoll. She's a ragdoll, and she's a pretty good hunter.
See, you both look fantastic.
Oh, how sweet of you.
Bluebird. An animal climbed my young cherry tree and broke my central leader.
Oh.
I'm worried about the. I'm worried the tree can't grow any taller, and I'll have a stunted 5-foot tree forevermore. Will it gain any more height?
A cherry tree is going to get huge.
I know.
You can cut it to a stump, and it's coming back as multiples, and it's going to get big.
And the central...
because cherries get big.
Don't you often take out the central?
Central leader, yeah.
He often will cut out the central leader, which
But that's like
bring
the
height.
apple trees,
pain.
right?
Huh?
That's of your apple trees or
On
Anything.
all trees?
everything. It's like
Anything.
He's bringing the height down.
it's one of the first thing he does is cut the central leader out, and I'm going, oh! But I see what he does with it.
Because you want to
so I
open
don't-
it up. Your center
Exactly.
it's just going to shade everything.
Yeah, so be of good cheer, whoever that was.
Thank you for all your knowledge, compassion, and love for the Lord. And what kind of medicinal plants do you grow? Wow, all of them.
Lots of plants are medicinal. Even plants you don't think are medicinal are often medicinal, like the cedar trees and the fir, tips and, stuff that grows wild out here. Lots and lots of it. We've got elderberry, wild elderberry. One of them's not good. And then we've got lots of things to do with women because of obvious reasons. I'm a midwife. So we have motherwort and yarrow and Melissa, which is lemon balm and lemongrass. I've got lemon verbena out there right now. I've got epazote, which is a Mexican herb that you use in beans and like mole and things like that. What else do we have? Oh, comfrey, lots of comfrey. We have lots of different mints. Try to, if you guys have a piece of property, even if you have a porch, try to make it a food for us or a little medicinal for us, because it would be really great if you need it. And then the things that grow wild all over the world are like broadleaf and swordleaf plantain. Those are medicinal. Chickweed's medicinal. Let's see, what are the... Self-heal is out there. There's, I have bee balm. I've got borage. There's just so many herbs out there. I can't even tell you. Got angelica. I've got arnica. Brought some arnica from Montana. I have, I'm not sure I got kinnikinnick, which is uva ursi. I've got, of course, we have lots and lots of nettle. And that's super medicinal. It's very yummy. It tastes better to me than spinach. But it's best to get it pretty young,
Before it flowers.
And definitely before it seeds. You just want to go out there with gloves, and I just go out there with a paper bag and cut the tops, and drop them into the bag so you don't touch them. And then you can either steam them or fry them with eggs or whatever. What else do we have up there?
What's that one we planted right by the, you're supposed to grow in full shade, and I planted right by the fence. Right by the chicken pen along the fence there, it gets big and goes as...
Oh, black cohosh.
Black cohosh.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful plant.
That's the woman's herb one, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a woman's herb. And we've got echinacea, and we've got, did I say motherwort? We have a couple of different kinds of, mugwort. We've got, anyway, you can even use some of the fruit tree leaves, and you also can use, even thistle you can eat. We get so much thistle out there right now that it's kind of ridiculous. But we need to get rid of that. But if you needed it, you could eat it. Bye, guys. We had some visitors here from across the water that wanted to sit on this for a little bit. Anyway, there's a lot of things that grow naturally and things that we've planted as well. Hawthorn berry, because it's really good for the heart. We've got that going on. What else? Oh, elderberry. I said that right.
So I have a
Oh,
question.
ginkgo. There's ginkgo out there. What's that?
No, go ahead. You can keep over
No,
on your
no, it's
list.
fine.
Paul, I have a question about elderberries because we have one that, well, a couple actually that refuse to die, so they're doing great. Since they grow so well where we live, I was thinking about using them as like a wind block or a shade kind of a block for a chicken run that we're doing. But I've been told that elderberries are not good for chickens. Have you heard anything about
Well,
that?
I just know that chickens won't eat anything poisonous.
They don't eat what they don't want
They
to eat.
they have instinct, and I'll take rhubarb leaves out there, beautiful big, and they won't touch it because they know
'Cause
it's
they know
poisonous.
better.
So I don't think there's anything to worry about the animals. That they'll stay away from what's not good.
Or maybe there's some dumb ones out there, I guess. But I don't know if I'd give it to turkeys. They're not always as smart. But well, just saying.
Well, thank you, Lona. Lona says hello from Aztec, New Mexico.
Aztec, New Mexico.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got Mary. Oh, yeah. I've got marigolds, and they are horrible, and their roots are like crabgrass. I had to till my soil with a hoe, just to get rid of them, though.
Well, if you have deers, marigolds usually keep them away. So if you have deer giving your garden trouble, but if you need to get rid of them, you need to get rid of them, right?
Yeah.
They don't like the smell of them, deer. So in some places, it'd probably be smart to put a border of marigold around your garden.
I don't know. I think having a garden that grows deer sounds awesome.
That grows deer.
Yeah.
If you could only shoot them,
Well,
if you needed meat,
'tis the season, I guess.
yeah. Well, I don't know if that would be smart here.
Okay, let's see. Where did I go? Davi Muller. I want to say I got that right. Hello from Brazil. What do you think about electroculture?
Oh, you mean
Electric culture.
are you talking about where people are putting those? I think they put like a 4x4 or 2x2 in the ground, and they run the copper wire around it. Are you talking about that?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't either.
You want to Google it real quick?
Electric culture. Well, maybe he can explain briefly.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get back to that.
I want to try it. I think it'd be fun to try to see
And
because it's
so,
supposed
what is that you're talking about? At least, what does that do? Is that
I think
E
so.
L E C T R O culture?
Electroculture.
What does it say?
I think that might be what he's
A
talking.
cutting edge and fascinating method of plant cultivation that makes use of electrical currents to promote plant development and boost output.
Right. Yeah. Is he say anything about it?
I
Whoever that
haven't.
person is.
I don't want to get. Oh, yeah, not yet. Okay. Well, we'll get back to that once we get more information about it. Let's see. Wade Howard. I know that name too. Hello, Paul and Carol. Love the last tour that I posted. Chris Trapp. How does Paul prune his trees to keep them short and accessible?
With a saw and a pruning shear. Felco number 8 is the best one to use. That's what I do. But again, it's just pruning is an art form, and it's all about arrangement. And so you want everything coming up and out of the tree, nothing hitting back in, and everything having exposure to light, sun. It's that simple. And always cut clean. Don't ever leave stumps. Cut very clean, right to the edge, and
Right to the line?
right to the line, and the collar will grow over and heal the cut, and you'll have no cavities.
And you try to keep any of your trees, I mean, the weight of the fruit does it for the majority, but you try to keep it all under what your arms reach, 5 foot, 10 foot.
And what amazes me is if you go to orchards and people do this for a living, they have all these upright shoots crowding the tree. that they cut off every winter. I says, what's the point? When it first shows up, rub them off. I go out in my orchard all summer long with my hand, just rub off all those shoots. I have nothing in the center because I'm not going to let it happen. So let the
Well, if they
energy.
have an orchard, they probably don't have the time to do it all.
Well, make the time because you're gonna be
Save time
cutting it off
eventually.
in the winter time. Do it up front and put the energy into your fruit and apples you want to keep.
True.
And so your pruners are Philco number 8.
And my saw is a
Samurai.
It's a
What I
Japanese
think
saw.
it's a 330
It's
MH maybe.
I don't know the number.
I'll
But
put links in later on
Okay.
for those. But they're
it's a 13-inch blade. You know.
yeah. And I bought both of those on your recommendation
gonna
way
say, I bet you got
years
them.
ago.
What
Still have them.
What do you think of them?
Love
Aren't
them.
they amazing how
Love
well they
them.
cut? Man, it's just-
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a few branches. We have a what are they? What are the willow or no? What's something wood? The cottonwood. We have cottonwood trees at our property, and they just like to put out new shoots all the time. And I'm like, I'm gonna get my saw out and get them. And I just right to the line, like you say. Let's see here. Hello, Paul Carol. Okay. There we go. Keeping up with Melina. Thank you here. It says, may God continue to use you and bless you. Wondering how do you hear from God?
How?
How? How do you hear God's voice?
By asking. He says, "You have not because you don't ask." And then it says there in Proverbs, "In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He'll direct your path." In Jeremiah, "Call unto me, and I'll answer you, and show you great and mighty things you don't know." And so his voice comes, and how I always validate his voice is I look for scripture to confirm it. Because in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, truth is
Really
always
important.
confirmed. And so when I think I hear, I says, God, give me a word of confirmation. And many times it's scripture, or he'll bring something to mind, or sometimes somebody will say something. Holy Spirit says, remember what I said? There's confirmation. What I'm finding is God wants us to hear very much. He's into us hearing. And if we just cooperate, we pay attention, we listen, He's there. And what I've discovered is the more you pay attention, the more comes. It says if you're faithful little, He gives you more. And so make a point to talk to God a lot. Good morning, God, when you get up. What are you up to today, and how can I be part of it? Just connect, in all your ways. God, how would you approach this? What would you do here? And listen. Pay attention to spontaneous thought. That was something that really helped me hearing from God. I always thought it was a still small voice.
And he never thought he could hear.
I didn't think I never hear a voice. But when this guy shared, it's a spontaneous thought that all of a sudden opened me up to hear. Like, wow, I get spontaneous thoughts. I know what that is. And so that really, really helped me connect to hearing from God.
Some people
Get this open.
say that that's like their conscience is that voice that they're hearing that's saying, don't do that. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. Is that kind of
God
the
can use
same
it.
thing
God
that you're
created your
hearing?
conscience. Well, He created your conscience. He has no problem using it.
But is it a different voice, or is it like an inner monologue,
No,
or
it's a thought. It comes as a thought for me, spontaneous thought. Just a thought comes, and then to make sure it's Him, I ask for confirmation. Then when I get confirmation, then I have assurance. I know that's it. That's God. I can go there.
in confirmation of 3 or more?
2 or 3, yeah. It says in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, truth is always validated.
And it really helps because I'm a midwife and I always go to births. When I go, I'm always cleansing my hands and purifying my heart. I'm trying to look for that scripture. I can't think. It's in Psalms. Who can ascend to the holy hill? Mm-hmm. Those that have clean hands and pure heart. Where's that?
I don't know the rest.
I know. I forgot where the address is. Anyway, basically, clean hands and a pure heart, and anyway, there's all kinds of scripture that talks about creating in us a clean heart and renewing a right spirit within us. And when you want to hear from God, like I said, on my way to every birth, I pray and I ask God to bring into my memory if there's anything that's separating me from Him, and that's sin, of course. And I mean, we all do it, we all have it, so it's great how this is amazing. And we can just go to Him and say, God, show me my heart, help me to see and understand if there's anything that's keeping me from hearing you, and you hearing me. And He will bring things to my mind that, sins of omission, even, that will help me. And so when I'm at a birth, I can really get some clarity when I pray or when I'm seeking Him, and I'll just go and I'll just be doing a nothing thing, and all of a sudden I hear something. And even if I'm in the middle of a complication, I hear something, and I used to question it or go, that doesn't make any sense. But when I started really listening and understanding it was His voice, I started being obedient, even if it wasn't in a textbook, and it would work. So, hearing God's voice, in my opinion, is vital for life and for, whatever it is that we do. And I think that it's much more effective if you can go to Him with a place of cleansing, clean hands and a pure heart. And it says, I'm modifying the scripture, it's really terrible, I don't know it, I think it's in Psalms, but who can ascend to the hill of the Lord? Those that have clean hands and a pure heart. And I want to always be there as much as possible.
I think we got a little bit of clarification on the what was it, electro gardening?
Oh, yeah?
Electroculture. It says copper wire is coiled and
is.
inserted next to the plant in the ground. Is that what you were talking
Yeah.
about?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I want to do it. I've been looking at it and I've been thinking about it, and I've got to, I don't know if I'll do it this year, but if I don't do it this year, I'll do it next year, because I think it's fascinating, because I've been reading about it and looking at it.
and
What,
what
what do
is
they
it
use
supposed
as
to
a
do?
power source? It's like 110 or
I don't even know if there is a power source. I think
No,
it's
I think
just
it's
from the
just
air.
yeah.
I
okay.
think it's from the air.
All
You
right.
use the copper and you put it in the ground in your garden, and you take a copper wire, and I can't remember the gauge, and you run it kind of circularly all the way up the wood, and then you kind of have an antenna that, I think what it does is it generates whatever electrical current that it will atmospherically, because we live in that, on some level. And so and it's supposed to really make a difference with keeping away pests, and also enhancing the the agriculture. It helps things grow better. It'd just be interesting to see. It would be fun to see how it works, if it works.
Let's see here. Any thoughts on psilocybin?
Psilocybin
Psilocybin
dosing,
for depression.
microdosing.
For depression.
What do you think of that? I have my opinions, but
I don't know. I
What
don't.
is what
psilocybin.
is psilocybin?
It's a
Is it the
psychedelic.
gel, right?
Yeah, so
Oh, is it?
It's a
Okay.
psychedelic.
like mescaline.
Yeah, it's psilocybin mushrooms you can use. People are using it pharmaceutically or whatever right now, just like they're using, marijuana and stuff. I have a check in my spirit about it, because I think that it feels like a gateway thing to me. And I know people get disgusted and angry about these statements, but I just feel like when I was into all that stuff, it's just too tempting to go further and not just microdose. So I have a real check, if you, and I just think anything that transcends the natural, unless it's God taking you there, and He does, and He will, and it's better than any psilocybin trip, I feel like it's a counterfeit. So I have a real check in my spirit about it. I know for some people it's been really helpful, and so I'm not going to question that or put them down. But I think that, it's just like saying, I need marijuana to make it through life. It's like, I think that I need God to make it through life. Sometimes it's a counterfeit, sometimes it replaces, and then finding out the root of the problem that I've got. That's an issue. Like right now, I'm really got a lot of pain in my left hip, and I keep thinking, God, what is this? What's the root of it? And I got an issue with my right knee, and this has been something that's been going on for quite a few years, and I keep going in and out of, like, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. So I think that if I eat sugar, it aggravates it, and if I don't eat sugar, it's not as bad. but I can't walk for long, long distances anymore. I used to be able to walk. I can't walk probably for more than a mile without it really affecting me, and sometimes less when I've been eating sugar or whatever. Anyway, so I'm really into getting to root causes of whatever illness I'm having, or if I have, you know, anything chronic, God, what is the root of this? And I feel like that's much more effective than trying to medicate, you know. But sometimes just to maintain, you need to medicate just to get through to the root cause or whatever. So I think that I'm not judging. I'm just saying for me personally, that's kind of where I've come from, because a lot of people are using that or talking about using it, and a lot of people are getting into using it. So I think that I think we need to be very careful that we're living during a time that God warned us that it would be a time of great deception. I think it's wise to just be asking God everything. That's why it's important to really try to hear God's voice, really try to learn what he's saying and how he's saying what he's saying. And he'll speak to us more than through his voice. He'll speak to us through circumstances, people, situations, animals, weather. I mean, he's a character, how he'll get his point across if we're willing to hear him.
That's what, based off of mushrooms or certain mushrooms?
Yeah, I mean, I think they might be making synthetic psilocybin. Maybe not, though. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know enough about it. I just read it a little bit, and like I said, the Holy Spirit, when He lives in your heart and He lives in you, you might have a check for a while, and maybe God will show you it's okay, or you might have you won't do it. Anytime I don't have a peace about something, and I think we both believe this way because the Scripture supports it, that if you don't have a peace in your heart, you shouldn't go there. Whether it is whatever it is.
The scripture is, let the peace of God rule in your
Heart
heart.
and mind in Christ Jesus. Yeah. So if it doesn't rule, if you don't have a peace, if you have a check in your spirit about something, it's better to wait, even if it's something that's critical. I've just learned through life and hard knocks that that's the best thing to do.
Well, BTV put another comment down here, and it says, Amen, thank you, and you did the confirmation. So that's pretty much what they were thinking.
I mean, Paul used to be one of the biggest psychedelic takers that I know. The guy used to take lots of acid,
Well, that was
mescaline.
before, though, right?
Well, yeah, before he knew God, and but he liked it. But I think that now,
Yeah, and I told God the only way I could get free is if you take it away, and He did. Mm-hmm. And it had no effect anymore. I thought, what's the point of doing this? This costs money. It's not working.
he did that with pot too with him.
Mm-hmm.
Luna wants to know, can you chip Russian olive trees in with other trees for mulch, or no, due to them being so invasive?
Russian olive trees.
I'm not familiar with that tree, so I don't know.
But, okay, so there are plants and trees and stuff like that are very invasive. And can you mulch them up as well and have them, like, what, willow?
Well, I think once something's chipped, laying on top of the ground and it's dry, it's going to die. If you keep it wet,
It's not.
it
might.
could root, but it's let it on top of the ground and let it dry out. It'll be fine.
Well, you also have the story of your walnut pile of wood chips, and a tree grew out of it that
seed,
your brother
yeah.
took.
It was from a
So, is there anything, like if there was an invasive,
We'll just pull it out.
would you
and
just
see it.
put it maybe in a separate pile and let it just cook off on its own?
Or the other way
Or just
around.
pray.
Mix it in.
Pray. God, how do I deal with this? How would you approach this?
Or mix it in with other things. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be so.
But I'm finding that when you ask, my says, God, how would you approach this? What would you do here? And just listen. He'll tell you.
That's the problem too, is lots of times we do so much talking to God. And it's not about, he's our candy man. It's like, he says to enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be grateful, thankful unto him, and bless his holy name. So when you come to him, come to him with a humble heart and be thankful. Just praise him, thank him, worship him, let him know how much he means to you and how it's significant he is in your life. And then you say, God, it'd be great. I would really like to understand this more. Can you please show me? And then you need to be quiet. You need to be quiet and listen.
You know, the word says, you know, in all your ways acknowledge Him. What does all leave out? And He'll direct your paths. I mean, it's like, you know, the Bible makes it really clear. You know?
Yeah, it's true. Details, even things that we would think that sounds sacrilegious, you know. I think, well, he says in all your ways.
Paul, do you still get out into your garden? I remember you saying in your older videos that the way you garden allows you to do so, even when you're not young anymore, especially your strawberries and spuds,
Well, yeah,
potatoes.
I'm doing everything in the garden. I'm just slower.
He goes out there, but it's not the same as it used to be. But he does go out, and I think if he couldn't go out, that would be detrimental to his health. Don't you?
Yeah, I think it's just a
It's
connection.
his nature. It's his nature. It's just part of him. It's like his arm or his leg or his whatever. It's in him. It's part of him.
Wade says, my wife and I have been making kombucha ever since you suggested it to us on the tour you posted. Oh, hey, nice. So that was what, 6 or so years ago?
How many years ago?
6 or so.
How do you remember these things? It's crazy.
I spent a lot of time behind the monitor editing videos, and so that's why I could probably give Pulse tours
By
and
yourself.
quote him word for word.
Oh my goodness.
It's
That's too much.
people will say, "Oh, well, like the saw." I know it's a 330. I think it's MH, but I can tell you like 4 different videos of that saw's in. Very nice to see you both. Been following you for a very long time. God bless you for what you have done.
Thank you.
Wade has a question. Do you ever put chips that are still steaming with green matter in your garden?
Not in the garden, but I do it in the orchard.
It's true.
Before we skip off to the next question, so I get a lot of times, and people who don't watch all of the videos or watch the progression, at least since I've been here, of your garden and your orchard and everything. What is the difference between the wood chips, soil, compost, anything in the orchard versus the garden area?
The difference is the stuff in the orchard is the coarse stuff, that how it came out of the chipper. In my garden is what's been screened. I went through a screen to reduce the size so I can plant seeds directly in it.
And also in the garden area is like compost from the chicken run.
Yeah, some of it, not all of it.
Is there anything else besides screened wood chips and chicken compost that you put into the garden area that
No,
you don't for the orchard?
no, that's all it goes there.
Now, there was a video, either the one that I just put up from a long time ago or the one before that, that you mentioned how often you put wood chips in the orchard. And then that's different than what you put in the garden. Some people get confused on when you put a new covering in the garden area or when you put a new covering in the orchard. Now, I saw some fresh wood chips out there, not too many, but a couple of the trees looked fairly new.
Yeah, it was pretty recent. Yeah.
Before that was like, I want to say 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you did pretty much the whole orchard.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that was like 18 or so years ago,
It's been a
maybe
while.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a while to break down the original.
Yeah, because at one point I had a lot of it and I put it like 16 inches deep. And that lasted a long time. That was great.
And then for the garden area, do you put a new layer of screen mulch or wood chips or compost or anything like that every year? Is it every other year?
Every other year.
Every other year. And then the only other difference between the two, the orchard and the garden, is the garden, the orchard's never been watered. And the garden gets watered just when you put the seeds down?
Yeah, just to get them up. And once they're up and growing, they usually do pretty good. Now, in the summer, if it gets real hot, I'll water, but it's really holds the water well, the wood
Okay.
chips.
Because some videos, people see hoses going from here to there, and now we have the sprinklers on, and now they're attached to the fence, which is pretty cool. And those are just facing into
The garden.
and they really only get used when you put new seeds down to kind of wake them up.
Yeah, or like in the summer when it's hot, I'll water.
Now, if you were going to water, like I water, but I live in a desert and it's always hot, even in winter. Nighttime, I heard, was the best time to
Because it won't
water.
evaporate. See, if you water during the day, the sun's going to evaporate it. But in the evening, you don't have the sun, so it tends to, stay on longer.
So if you're watering your grass or anything like that, you want to water at nighttime instead of the daytime.
Or actually,
because
early evening, so it's going to last longer.
And then also I heard something about if you have water droplets on the leaves or on the grass or on the whatever, and the sun hits it, it almost acts like a magnifying glass and kind of burns it a little bit.
I don't know.
You've never
about
heard that?
I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Garden Grower says my electroculture. Oh, I just got lost. There we go. Hold on. My electroculture plants that have a copper coil by them are doing better than the others started at the same time.
It's kind of cool.
So would you have to do a new coil for each plant?
No.
Like
it's-
every
know.
thing of kale or every row or in the middle of
No, I think
every
it
10
takes
feet?
in a certain amount of ask this guy, he's doing it. So I think it takes in a certain amount of diameter, I think. And they
Or depending on how big the coil is?
I think so. I remember them suggesting a certain gauge
I'm going to have to look
of
into
copper, I
this.
think. Is he answering?
I don't know. I'm way back.
Okay.
We keep going off on tangents, and I'm not keeping up with people, so I'm just trying to
Yeah.
go in order. Let's see.
Oh, we should look it up and check it out because I think it'd be interesting to do. Just have to get copper wire.
This going back to the mushroom thing. It says, if not, because my family freaks out about the idea of me trying out magic mushrooms, I would definitely try it.
It can affect the biggest thing, honey, is it can affect your soul. You have to realize that you're messing with, things that are anything that transcends this plane apart from God. You're messing with stuff, and you're asking for it. That's called the doorway, and you can ask for demonic issues. You want to really be careful with this stuff. And I know there's going to be people out there making noise about it and disagreeing, but that's fine. You can have your opinions. I definitely have mine, and I've learned the hard way before I knew God that sort of thing is not good health spiritually.
Natasha Girl, I have heard many positive things about an animal-based diet that heals many ailments. You heard of the carnivore diets where it's just meat, water, salt? You heard anything about
I think it
benefits of
depends on the
those or not?
person's body. I think every body is different. And some people can make it on stuff like that, other people can't. Some people can't make it on a vegan diet. It could kill them. Some people wouldn't be able to make it on that keto diet. So
Your diet mostly comes from the property, and that's just because you know where it came from. I mean, if
when
you do
when the
have,
property's producing, this is where But when it's not, it doesn't come.
but you have when you had rabbits or when you had chickens or you have the lambs or the sheep out there. From time to time, you will eat meat. It's not that you're against eating meat.
He eats that, but he doesn't eat it
But you just can walk outside, like you said, and graze and have whatever's out there, and you know where that comes from, and it's nutritious and it sustains you because look at you and you look amazing. So let's see. You guys got a second for a prayer? Lona says, asking for prayers, please, for Matt, who is a young man in a coma with brain damage doesn't look good, but God is bigger. Please pray for a miracle. Bless you and thank you. Matt in a coma.
Father, we just agree together right now for Matt, Father. Nothing's too hard for you. And you can completely heal him, Lord. Bring him out of that coma, restore his mind to what it was, if not even better, and just do a major miracle to bring you glory and honor. We give you
We
thanks
cell under your
in
authority,
Jesus'
Lord
name.
God. Father, we pray that you correct the cellular damage in his brain, Lord. Father, we ask that you would do a miracle, Lord, that you would bring others to you as a result of the miracle, Father. In the name of Yeshua, we pray. Thank you, Lord.
And Donald says that he will pray for Matt as well.
What's that?
Donald says that he's going to pray for Matt.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people in here are saying they're going to pray for him.
Good. Ask God for a
Yes,
miracle.
amen.
Ask God to heal him. There's been crazier things done in hospitals, and it's not always necessarily something a doctor does. It's the great physician. He's the healer. Jehovah Rapha, we speak over this man. Speak to him, Lord, while he's in this place, Lord. Speak to him, Lord. Draw him to you, God. Bring him back, Lord. Full restoration, Lord.
Lana says, I will listen to the Lord. Thank you. We will pray for Matt and hope he comes out of the coma.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power to heal. We just have to have faith.
God is a
Christ
healer.
says
Jehovah Rapha.
Christ says we must walk as he walked, and he will have the power that he has. Okay, we're
Yep.
going to go back
We
up a
have
little
that
bit.
authority.
So here we have Bluebird says, I'm waiting for my 21st truckload of wood chips after 6 years. The chips are still disappearing into the soil, so we continue to add layers.
Mm-hmm. That's what they do. That's what you want them to do. You're feeding your soil. You're making soil that's alive.
Okay, Carol, here's one for you, I think. I mean, Paul, it might be for you, I don't know. What should I be eating while nursing 2 5-month-old babies? I feel hungry most of the time, and the babies are still nursing every couple of hours, if not sooner.
Lots of calories and not junk. Superfoods are best because you're producing milk for those little ones. And that. Thank you for doing that, by the way. It's twins are a handful and a breastful in both ways. Yeah, I would just make nutrient dense foods. If you've got an organic garden, make yourself green smoothies or have others help you make green smoothies. Don't put a lot of sugar in them. Mostly use, I dilute, like if I use a drink, often I'll put half apple juice, organic apple juice, and half water, or dilute it somehow so you don't get as much sugar and put lots of greens in there. And you can put, apple and sprouts and hemp. I don't know what kind of diet you have, but anytime you're feeding your babies, you can make sure you're drinking plenty of water. And also let it not be cold or too hot, ideally tepid, room temperature. Every time you nurse, drink at least 8 to 10 to 12 ounces, especially with twins. And just keep the calories coming. I don't know what kind of diet you have, but make sure that it's do as much as you can organically, especially if you've got your own resource or if you know farmers in the community that'll help you resource some good food. If you lived here, I'd give you free food.
Well, maybe they do live around here.
Huh?
So maybe they do live around here.
Well,
We're
if
going to
they
have
do
to
live
find
around
out.
here, you should come over. Now, right now, it's not really that much yet, but we have enough to give away. So if you do live around here, we can give you some stuff.
Melissa would like to ask about your nursing background, and are you still doing births?
I am. I just did a birth a couple days ago, and I'm waiting on one right now. I don't have a nursing background. I'm a non-nurse midwife. deliberately. In fact, there's some cultures, some countries that will not hire a midwife if she has, or not train a midwife if she's a nurse without helping her unlearn because it's not a medical. It's this is a whole can of worms, but anyway, it's really in my opinion, a really good midwife is a holistic midwife or a classical midwife, which is what I am, and that's someone that actually has takes the entire person in perspective. And I do a lot of praying for my clients. We just had a very successful VBAC after a successful VBAC, but she'd had a lot of trauma during her births, and this was her third baby. It was her first boy, and she had the most amazing birth. I think it really brought a lot of healing to her, and that's what I really try to do is help women not only have a baby but really get what it's all about and and help them holistically, spirit, soul, which is your mind, will, and emotions, and body, not just treat or support the body, but her whole being is really super important. What kind of questions would you have? I mean, since I'm not a nurse midwife, what other, is that all she said?
Yeah, I just want to know about your background and if you're still doing births.
Yeah, I've been doing them for 46 years, so I'm pretty experienced. And when you've been doing them that long, you can really hone in on the things, in my opinion, that really matter. Because all the other things that you did for the first 10 or 15 years to learn the skill, because when you get a credential doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're doing. You know, I've been able to be more honing in on things that are more invisible. The invisible realm, I like to host a lot and just pay attention intuitively what's necessary and try to bring that into the forefront of the experience so the women can really really grow and gain from their birth and the baby as well, because I like to protect and host a lot of things, like I will not cut a cord until a placenta is born. I feel like that's one of the biggest travesties in our culture right now, is that women are, I mean, the baby comes out and the baby's not doing good, and the first thing they do in the medical system is cut the cord and move the baby 15 or 20 feet or 12 feet or whatever away from the mom. And then they wonder why the mom starts to hemorrhage. Birth is very primitive, and instinctively, women, when they have their baby taken away from them right away, the baby actually releases a hormone from the top of its head to cause the mother to signal to her to release the placenta and stop bleeding. And if you take the baby away, I feel like our culture, especially in America, because our infant and maternal mortality rate is wanting. And I feel like, well, that's one of the biggest things that we do that disturbs the process. And also, the baby doesn't know what to do. The baby doesn't do well when it's moved from its mom. So what I'll do, if a baby's in distress, I'll often put the baby somehow touching the mom, or the mom touching the baby, either on her thigh, on her chest, between her legs, somehow where the baby can be touched by the mother's body. And the mom speaks to the baby, keeps mom grounded, keeps them all very connected to one another, which is really imperative at that point. And the baby rallies and does well often. Sometimes you have to send them in because they can, have issues. But other than that, I really feel like we really disturb that time, and it's a travesty to me. I really want to change the thinking in this culture, and I'm hoping that I can do that by teaching. And I'm going to Russia next month, and I'm going to be speaking to doctors as well as birth keepers. And I was just in Israel, and I did the same thing. And I'm looking forward to being in Fiji next year, and whatever else I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be in Africa possibly, and also in Turkey this year. It just depends, and it depends on how he's doing as well. So, but anyway, there's some things that really need to change in our culture, and I think that's one of them. And I think the midwives are going more into a medical model because that's what's being taught them. And I think that as they grow in their art, they'll be able to see what's being effective and what's not, and hopefully they'll be able to take the wisdom from just watching and waiting and seeing how women know. They know so much. They're part of their own health, their healer. It's like people think, you're a doctor, you're a midwife or whatever, but every woman has a midwife within her, and every baby knows how to be born. And for the most part, it doesn't need any intervention. And sometimes it does, and that's why I'm there. So anyway, I don't know if that's too much information or whatever.
Garden Grower says yes. Each plant for a coil covers within 3 feet.
Oh, 3 feet?
That's what it says.
And how big is the post, and what's the gauge of the wire, and how tall do you have to make it?
Okay.
That's all stuff that I
We'll get down
haven't
there
go
in a
back
few,
to
I'm sure.
pay attention.
Um,
I think it'd just be fun if you, especially having a hard time with something growing. Like we had this one grapevine out there that the what do you call it? Sheep kept eating it, and now that we have that fence, I kept the grapevine, and I want to put one of those out there to see if I can get some growth on that, so I can see if it'll change it, because it's been stunted since the sheep keep eating the leaf.
For Mission World says, must say thank you for all your Christ-centered and gardening information. I opened a door to a demon prior to repenting, and as I called on Jesus, I was set free.
That's awesome. Yeah, we when we resist God and we open up doors and we, play with things like psilocybin mushrooms or whatever, without the right kind of, we're asking for it. And right now I'm telling you, we're going to work overtime to clean ourselves up, and it's available to us. It's available to us. And then people get mad because this and that and everything happens. But then you find out the source of what that is. And oftentimes it's because we've indulged in something or opened up a door to something that's caused that to happen. And people don't want to take responsibility in our culture right now. They just want to deny, their responsibility. They just want to blame someone else. And that's just like so incredibly harmful to them spiritually. So anyway, yeah. That's smart that you got rid of the demon. Keep it out. That's the thing. You got to keep it away.
A few people here asking if you've thought any more about doing Bible studies. I think that's about we were kind of hinted that you guys might think about doing a
Yeah, I
YouTube
think I
channel
just
or
need a
something.
kick in the behind. Like he was just telling me, I just need to open it up, and I'm just trying to figure out the name that we want to use, and then I'm hoping to open it up on Rumble, and I need to do it. I think I'm just going to do it in faith. I'm not sure how to get the word out. Maybe I'll tell that nub over there to broadcast it for us if we're going to do it. But
I'll definitely tell the people if you guys start a channel. I
yeah,
will
you will.
definitely let people know that.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, because I think our heart is to love the people, to really encourage them to do what's right before God, and like I said, people are just because of pride often sometimes resistant, but the ones that want to grow and learn, I know that Paul knows the word, and I know the word not as well as he does, but I know the word, and I know that there's principles that we need to apply in our lives, not just read our Bible, not just pray. We need to apply those principles to our lives. We need to walk in authority. We need to walk in humility. We need to seek God with all our heart and cry out to Him and make Him preeminent in our lives. And as we do that, He's going to show Himself strong. You won't have the misery that you're in. You won't be bound. You'd be free. God would set you free from all the stuff that you are encumbered by. And I think that when we resist it, when we don't follow hard after God, especially right now, we're going to find ourselves in big trouble. And the enemy does everything he can to lie to us and make us believe things that are not true. And that's why it's really important to know him and to grow in him. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. Just wanted to send love to Paul and Carol. Thank you for being a blessing. You're a light from God, and thank you. The Eagle Arising says, are you still looking for someone to help out around there?
Well, we've had people come and go. It's been a real blessing. The other day I had a work party. I think maybe 10 people showed up. It was really special. And it was, it was just really spontaneous. And I just put it online. And some people I didn't even know came over and showed up. Some person came all the way from Idaho. Um, it was really a blessing. And we cleared out a lot of the weeds that are really super easy to pull here. And there's still some out there. I think my son's going to take some salt to them, but I've been pulling consistently, and everywhere I go, I'm always pulling what might be coming up because we do get weeds. We just don't get weeds like a lot of people do, and we also get, um, they're really easy to pull because the soil is so um, loose from the chips, right?
Hmm.
Didn't you say?
Yeah.
And so it's been a real blessing. So what Paul's saying, I just heard him say is that um, get a hold of us and like we could probably use some help right now getting more of the weeds out. I know the garden out at the pond. We're gonna have to. We went out there and did the. Sorry, get out of there, Zatar.
I'm kidding.
Um,
Anyway,
anyway,
you're in Squim, Washington,
yeah,
and contact phone number again is
360-683-4477, and we could probably use some help right now. Not as much because we've gotten quite a bit done, but there's quite a bit out there that we could probably use some help with. And anytime people want to do it, it took us a long time, both of us, to get to this place where we ask. And now that we're doing it, I'm just going out there and doing it, and it's really been helpful, and it's really been a blessing because. And then when you're here, if we've got food, we can give you some. If there's enough out there to be gotten, and right now we have some. And like coming during fig season, we'll give you some figs. Apple season, we'll give you apples. Strawberries if we could have them work, but they're
also you might get some cuttings. So
yeah
if
cuttings.
you want to have your own fig tree, just get a little snippet off of one of these and stick it in the dirt.
Yeah, has yours been
Nah, it
growing?
hasn't worked for me yet.
Is it too hot over there? Maybe you just need you
Well,
need some Southern California fig trees.
what I need is soil, and I have
Oh,
sand.
you have sand.
And
Okay. Are you
there's
building
a
your soil?
yeah. I mean, when we first got there, we had truckloads and truckloads come out there and dump until the county got called on us and tried to send me to jail and fine me and stuff and
Oh, that's
made
right. I
me
heard
get
that was
permits and all that.
crazy.
But the area that we did the most work in this year, we had a sprinkler issue, and the sprinklers weren't going, and a lot of our perennials, like the fruit trees and the some of the berry bushes, and they all just did their own thing, and they decided they were going to grow whether I watered them or not. And
That's
so
great.
that area we are building soil in.
Wow,
So it's something's happening, and at least those are drought resistant now.
that's great.
Let's see here. Paul, do you know what SDA faith is?
No.
SDA.
Seventh Day Adventist.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Yeah.
figure it out.
What about him?
Says, did Paul find anything wrong with the SDA faith?
Wrong.
Yeah, do you find anything wrong with that?
Seventh Day Adventist.
No, and what I like about them, if they really pay attention to their diet. Most of them are not overweight. They're in good health because they realize their body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And they really, and they honor the Sabbath day. So
Yeah,
they
that's
have many good
good
qualities.
qualities. I wouldn't call it. Some people call them a cult, and I think
No, the ones
they love the
ones
ones
I
we know love the
yeah,
Lord,
they're really
and seem to have a decent balance for sure. I mean, not that our opinion matters, but that's our opinion. Only thing that matters is God's opinion, and if they're following after God, hey, I think
Ah.
sorry, Satan.
Um, Lona says a Bible study name could be Back to Eden, but isn't that trademarked or something? You can't really.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to
there's
be something
some.
different. I think.
Okay, let's see. Paul, which version of the Bible has the best interpretation to the original source?
I believe the King James is probably the closest.
I know a lot of people disagree with that, but we're tired of them pulling out scriptures and we've been reading a lot of the living. What's it called, the Holy Scripture. I've been reading scriptures. It's the scriptures lately, and it's a is it called a transliteration when it's word for word kind of thing. That's really been really blessing me lately because it's right. And then the Holy Scriptures, which is the one that you've been reading,
King James is.
Tree of Life version, I guess, or anyway, they just use the Hebrew names of God and some of the other names, like the book names are in Hebrew.
And they'll use like
We
things
usually
like pieces, shalom, and just they use a lot of Hebrew terms.
yeah. But we mostly read King James, and I just feel like if it's good enough for the martyrs, it's good enough for us. And I'm tired of hearing about how the modern translations take out all these verses and stuff, and I don't have a piece
Here,
about it.
just for an example, two examples, just to show you. You see, the modern translations are trying to make it understandable, and so they say, "Let the peace of God
Rule your heart.
rule in your heart." I'm trying to. There's another one I'm thinking about. I can do all things through Christ
That's right. Oh yeah.
who strengthens me. Is all the modern ones. King James is which strengthens me, and you see the difference. You see, if I do it through Him, that empowers me. He doesn't do it for me, but I do it. And then the other one is thanks be to God, King James, which gives us the victory. All the rest says who. And see, as I give thanks, that empowers the victory. That's how I connect. That's how I access the victory. So just these simple words they're trying to make understandable to the human mind change the whole meaning of the text.
And I just feel like I'm a goofy, and I feel like, you know what? You've got the Holy Spirit that He says He'll lead you and guide you into all truth. Sometimes it's not always that important that we completely understand every jot and every tittle. Sometimes it's good to just read it and ask the Holy Spirit to say, God, what does this mean? So people get all freaked out about King James being, a difficult translation to understand. Well, you know, you just do what you do, but I don't have any problem with that. And I just love memorizing from the King James because it's just it's a lot more beautiful. And like I said, if it's good enough for the martyrs, it's good enough for me. But we always try to go to the original as much as possible too. If we're really wanting to look at something clearly, it's important to go to the original Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, whatever.
Not too many people read that over here, though.
Well, but if you want to go further
Yeah.
in your understanding, it's really awesome.
Paul, how many grandchildren do you have, and do any of them or your kids inherited your love of gardening?
How many grandkids?
Well, we did have 12, but they just got divorced.
Okay.
So we've got to delete 4, I think.
So 8.
So it's 8, yeah.
And any of them or your kids, do they share your love of gardening?
I don't
Not
know.
really.
I can't think of any.
Not really. It's really funny. We had an adopted kid that did, but other than that, the others don't.
I started covering my garden with leaves that I pick up in the area. Also, I use wood shavings that I got from my job as a cabinet maker. What are your thoughts on this? I have a hard time getting wood chips in my area.
Well,
Needles, leaves, and twigs.
Yeah, needles, leaves, and twigs are ideal. So if you have nothing but the shavings, then add grass clippings and leaves, and that'll help. Bring the life force back into the material.
You don't want to just put shavings.
Shavings is
That'll kill it.
It's not killing. It's just no life in it. It's just not not food.
But isn't it going to put too much of a nothing in the soil?
Well, probably if you have too much of it, nothing's going to grow in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, SDA is Seventh Day. Okay. Hello, folks. Can someone tell me the title of the video where the cat was walking on the fence and the lady thought it was a panther? I can't find it. Okay. Let's
It's
see.
probably my
You're trying to
my
get
bangle.
me. It's.
He's trying to. He's got to remember where it was. So
I know exactly
It
which
was
one
my
you're
Bengal
talking
cat, though,
about.
right? It was probably my Bengal cat.
You guys were sitting on next to the fence, and that cat was just walking along, and this lady was just like, "Oh, oh!" I thought it was like a tiger or something like that. And I know the video you're talking about. It was at the end of the video. We were by the chicken coop. There's
2017 or something.
only
18. 2017 or 18.
yeah, maybe that we didn't have the kitty thing yet.
No. That came way later.
Yeah.
Because that was a Bengal cat. These guys are Savannah and Bobcat. So my Bengal cat ran off or someone stole him or something. I don't know.
If you're looking at the full tour videos or like the complete garden videos or something that I have, like the 4, 5, 6 hour videos, look towards the end when everybody's sitting around by the chicken coop. So that'll kind of lower your search a little bit, but I will find that and I will try to
Will?
remember to. Oh, I know what video it
I
is.
want to see it too because I wasn't here.
Yeah, I know exactly what video it is. I just don't know where it's at, and I'm using my phone right now for the chat, so
Okay.
I'll find it later. I'll try to remember to put it in the description,
Send it to
a
me.
link to that, and I'm going to send it to Carol too. Okay.
Thank you.
Paul, do you feed them anything else?
Is this a cougar? What's this?
this is a cat.
Oh, my eyes are going really bad.
That's my cat. It's okay.
Let's see. I wish I lived close. I'm retired and so bored.
Where do they live?
Not close, but they have. I only know what they type. I don't know
Right.
everything
I wish I
about
lived
everybody.
close, not close.
Yeah. But their name is Grow Things to Eat. That's awesome.
Grow things what?
To eat.
Grow Things to Eat is their name.
Good idea.
Garden
Good
grower.
exhortation.
Garden grower. This is going back to the coils, I think. And you stick the coil on the south side of the plant.
Oh, I thought I saw them wrap it around it, but it goes on the south side. Interesting. Okay.
Let's see.
I have to look at it more thoroughly.
Oh, we kind of covered this one before we went live. It says, I've been listening to Growing Back to Eden live streams. Did you say that you're keeping the feast and the holy days?
We want to. We keep the Shabbat, and every time there is a feast, I kind of nudge this guy, but I just read and talk to God about it and try to honor it myself as best I can. But I would like to get with people that do it and share with them because there's a few out here that do. But yeah, I'm convicted to do it, and we're definitely convicted as a couple to do Sabbath because there's a real blessing in it, and I think if we were doing it all our married life, things would be a lot different in our family. I think there's a lot of principles that we've neglected, and we've listened to man over God, and we've got to start reading the scripture and see what that says instead of trying to modernize and make things the way we think it says. Ask the Holy
You
Spirit.
know, I think it's interesting how the scripture identifies them. It says they're the Lord's feast. Mm-hmm. They're His feast. So that would make them significant.
No kidding. People think that, those are Jewish feasts. No, they're
No,
not.
the Lord's feast.
They're Lord's feasts, and He tells us in in Leviticus to keep them. And I don't know. And if you get convicted by the Holy Spirit, you better obey. Quit following after man.
Cassidy says, your cat is beautiful. Growing Things to Eat says, wasn't it though? Gorgeous cat.
Which cat? Oh, I know which one it was.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh my word, here kitty kitty. I'd never seen you cat. Wow, beautiful. I think the cat hopped through the shop.
I think it. He looked into this.
On the table.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think he came right up to this camera and looked right into the lens.
those aren't. This
Oh.
one's the one that's live, and I
Ah.
can get over to halfway through the cage
Okay.
over there, and
Okay.
almost to the fireplace or
Okay.
the wood burning stove. So there's a pretty broad range.
Okay.
So if they're seeing the cat, hey kitty. The Eagles Arising. I agree with the King James Version, and the other versions contradict it.
Not contradict, but
Change
water it
the.
down. Different. It's different. And God's big enough to keep his word, but I definitely don't use the NIV. I think the NIV is just not from God personally. Sorry guys. But it's just not, there's too many weird things in that book. And it's the first thing that comes up on Google every time you Google something looking for a biblical, verse or something, and they're always pushing NIV, and that in itself gives me a question mark about it. It's just yummy to read the word and to grow and to learn, and lots of times you see things that you hadn't seen before, and it's good. It's good stuff, and it's our sustenance right now. It's our sustenance. God's been showing me a lot of things about the word lately. It's been really special.
Okay, Wade asks, he says that you don't have this problem, but what would you say about fruit that is very small, like strawberries or raspberries, when they're not, as big, when they're just tiny?
It's lack of nutrition. So with your strawberries, at the end of the year, cover the whole bed with wood chips. Not very deep, just enough to cover, and then that's going to start feeding that soil and building the soil up.
Yeah, some people use compost tea or something like that, but you don't necessarily have to. It takes time. It takes more time.
With wood chips composting, every time it rains, you water, get
Right.
compost tea. So it's just such a easy way to get it.
Well, and it's simple. It doesn't get so complicated. And
We were asking where that one person lives that said that they're so bored. They live in Arizona. A bit of a drive to you folks. Well, not if you're really that bored.
That's funny.
Now they're going to hop in a car and head over here. Garden grower, I described what I bought and directions on how I made the coils in the comment up above. You skipped it. Yeah, I switched from, I was only seeing the top chat, and I switched over to the live chat, and it kind of cut everything off for a while. So there's probably a bunch in there that I skipped.
Is it going to be on the? Is it going to be on?
It's in the thing. It's in the feed. I just can't see it while I'm watching I'd have to go back and after the.
Thank you, whoever you are. Appreciate it, or repost it or something, if you can.
Oh yeah, if you can find it, go up and copy paste and drop it again.
Paste and drop it.
Let's see. Okay, go back up to the kitty. Do you attend a church? My husband and I are having a hard time finding anyone who teaches King James Version, who doesn't bring the world into it in some way. Holidays, sports, Disney, etc. So, where's your church? I think online?
Here.
It says where two or three are gathered together, he shows up. So tell that guy to find someone with like faith as his and just start fellowshipping and pray that God brings others to them and develop a nice church in your home.
Woman, whoever it is. Yeah, and like we talk to people online, we talk to people on the phone, we talk to people right now. We're having church, in a sense. And I just feel like if you're a person that's given to the Word of God, if you're a person that's in prayer and it's not superficial and it's sincere, God's going to show you. He'll show you either where to go or how to be, or And trouble with lots of churches today is that, like, what does Mario Murillo say? Skinny jeans, light machines, or something. I don't know. But it's like there's just a lot of like fanfare, and it can be very distracting when you're really serious about God. for the kids or whatever, I mean, they want to, ice cream sundaes. Another thing that really drives me nuts and drives Paul nuts is that all the junk food the church eats blows our minds. It's not like we're pure, because we eat junk food at times too, but I'm just saying they promote it. They think it's okay, and it's the body's a temple of the Holy Spirit, the Bible says, and if you destroy your body, God will destroy you. And then we're getting all these cancers and stuff, and I mean, it's not like I'm not subject to it as well. I mean, here I got this issue with my hip and my knee, and you know what I mean. I'm just saying, it's just I want to be with people that really want to go on in God, and lots of times church is not happening for us right now. I'm not saying it's, but another thing is that we were talking to those folks that were videotaping us before you, and they're missionaries, I guess. Is that what they said they were?
I don't know.
Anyway, they're doing something that goes. They go to India and places, and they were saying, that God's. They noticed that God's bringing people back into the homes, and I said, I really believe with all my heart that's one of the things I've been talking about for years, is that institutional church is on its way out. It's old wineskins. I believe God is bringing us all back into the home, because that's where the nitty-gritty meets. That's where people want to hide. In big churches, you can hide all you want. You don't have to be confronted with yourself. You don't have to be dying to your flesh and living for God. You can just hide, because nobody's going to make you accountable unless you get into a small group and meet in a home or some small Bible study. There's not going to be any accountability. And so you're going to be out there freelancing it. And lots of times you can fall prey to all kinds of stuff. Sin, pornography, sex with, your girlfriend or boyfriend. There's no accountability. There's no anybody there that, and it's not saying that, it's just that you want to be with people that really want to go on in God. And when you do that and you're in the Word and you see how serious it is and the fruit of it, you don't really want to do anything else but serve Him and be there. And I think in a small group, you're more apt to get the depth of the Word of God that most people seem to miss, especially in churches, especially big churches.
It says, I'm skipping down for a second. Thank you. I agree. We are the church, the hands and the feet of Christ. It just feels strange not going to a building anymore. I believe that God is calling us to go out and make disciples instead. Exactly.
And if God puts it on your heart to meet with people, bring them over, whatever day of the week, and have a fellowship, have a time of prayer and worship and praise, just have a time of just waiting on God and hearing Him and just sitting there together and keeping Him preeminent. And maybe He'll want to speak. Maybe He'll want to spin something out of that fellowship to bring, to a local, like occasionally I've used a barn in our community and to reach out to the community. And, during COVID, I think there were, I don't remember how many, 97 cars or 100, I don't know how many cars that showed up, and everybody stayed in their car, but we used the radio station to share, but everybody sat in their car in this big field, and we were able to really minister to one another and love one another and be together in one voice, kind of, spiritually to say, hey guys, we're here and we're here for each other and we're here for you, God, and I think God really blessed it, So I love being spontaneous for God. It's really important to kind of don't put Him in a box. Allow Him to be God in your life, and He'll show you all kinds of things. He'll maybe bring you somebody that needs, like, I'll drive past somebody, down the street or something, and the Holy Spirit will say, give them this amount of money, or do this, or, and I'll go, really? Okay. And I'll turn around and go back and do it, and it's like, that's church, man. You're honoring God, and you say, God told me to give that to you. And they'll go, you have no idea how this really met my need right now, or I'm so grateful, I was really hungry, or, thank you for this water, or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever it is that you feel led to do. I just love being spontaneous, because the Holy Spirit is alive and well on planet Earth. And if you're willing and able and trying to be listening and obeying, He will open up amazing things. And lots of times I'm not even heard locally at all. People want, even Yeshua, when He was in His ministry, Nazareth, places where He lived weren't receiving from Him. your own family doesn't receive from you because they know you're screwed up. They know all your problems. They know that. But you know what? All you have to do is be willing and your heart turned toward God. He says the eyes of the Lord go to and fro throughout the whole earth in search of those whose heart are turned toward him on behalf of those. But what he'll do is use whoever will, and he says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear this is Revelation. If any man hear my voice and open the door and come, I will come into him and sup with him and he with me. He's standing at the door of our hearts on a continuum. This is for the church. This is not for the non-believer. And he's always saying, I want to come in. I want to come in. Would you let me in? Would you let me be preeminent in your life? Would you obey? Would you obey me? And I will show myself strong through you. Amen?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna butcher this one. Is the
Septuagint.
Septuagint is a good translation?
If whatever God's showing you, I personally, if I'm really wanting to know something, I do a word search, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just kind of get into it and do a word search. This guy just constantly reads the Bible. He's always reading the Bible or some book, any book that's going to bring him edification to build him up. And now that he's really slowed down from going outside a lot, things that used to not keep him inside now. And so he's filling himself with the Word of God all the time. And that's one of the reasons I want to open up a channel where we can talk like this and encourage one another, and because I think Paul has a lot to share.
Okay, Big Cat walked through the camera. That was probably a while ago.
Oh, really?
Carol, you were right. Not sure what about, but you were right about something.
Sometimes.
Here we go. If we had to start a garden right now, what should we focus on to plant?
What's their soil like?
Where do you live?
Yeah, where do you live?
Get back to that. But I would think, not annuals. Like if you want to get some fruit trees out there, you want to get some berry bushes, something that's
Well,
going
fruit
to...
trees you'll get in February, bare root. So it's too early for that.
Are we thinking right now as in like this season?
Right
Yeah.
now, this moment.
Yeah.
What kind of
right.
soil do they have? Can they plant in it, or is it prepared?
Yeah.
Well,
just,
let's say that they can plant in it.
and plant stuff you want to eat, and just
Yeah. And depending on where they are, they have to look to see what if it's super hot, you probably don't want to do broccoli and greens and stuff right now.
Yeah.
But you can do that more in the fall. But or yeah, I guess August, September, whatever. But depending on where you are, whatever grows right now. What kind of things? I mean, stuff that comes up pretty quick. Squash and stuff.
Well, all your greens come very quickly.
Yeah, but what if they're in a really super hot climate? They have to do it in the shade.
Well, then nothing comes up really fast. It's those things are like
Those bolt quick.
squash and whatever.
Squash.
They take a while.
Well, man, they sure sprouted fast on those little ones that sprouted on the porch. They were too long.
What do you advise us to use as a natural fertilizer?
Worm castings,
Grass
chicken
clippings.
manure.
Grass clippings is great.
Oh, yeah, because it breaks down quick.
Yeah.
Grass clippings.
And they're available. Usually you're mowing the grass, so it's just and it's a nice green material and it breaks down quite quickly.
If you live by the ocean, seaweed's amazing.
Yeah, kelp's very good.
Mm-hmm.
What about like a compost tea or something like that?
Well, that's the beauty of wood chips. You see, is any water goes through composting wood chips is creating compost tea. So compost tea is wonderful. It's just where do you get it? And if you got to make it,
where we live here, we can get it easily.
yeah. But I'm saying, but if you have to make it yourself or whatever, it could be a process and take a lot of time. But the beauty of cover is that you're creating an environment that compost tea happens on a natural basis all the time.
He's Mr. Natural. I kind of like to get some compost tea. But because I want to see what it can do here. Because we've already seen what it can do on some level.
Is there any way to prevent random roots from invading my no-dig garden, assuming they are from the neighbor's trees?
Not really.
No.
Just cut them, chop them off when you get to them.
Well,
They'll figure out someplace else to go.
shouldn't there be enough room for everything under the ground?
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're sprouting
plants
up
between them. I mean,
and...
we've
Yeah.
got roots in our garden.
Yeah, well, I have sequoia trees.
Oh my
Their
gosh.
roots are in my garden.
Oh yeah, they're like those guys.
Well, and also, they're probably not just in your garden since they're on the property line. They're probably going...
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, a little bit, not that
much,
far.
because there's much more food this
Yeah.
direction, and plants aren't stupid. They're going to work
Yeah,
where
and
food is.
they plant. They've been doing Roundup over there.
Yeah.
I know it. Because it can go for as far as 3 miles. It's just really sad. Anyway, I hope that somebody just bought that property, and I'm hoping they don't use Roundup, but we'll see.
Okay, we're back to the copper guy. Let's see. I bought 20-foot copper from Amazon, 12-gauge cut
12
in
gauge.
2-foot lengths. First 6-inch straight, then wrap 7 turns around the largest Sharpie. Then,
Sharpie.
yeah, like a pen. You know, the black markers?
Right.
So you wrap it around that 7 times that's the size he's talking about.
Oh.
Get the shape.
Let's see here. 7 turns around the largest Sharpie, then bent a tight circle at the very top, wire 6 inches long on the top also.
Huh.
Okay.
How many gauge? 12?
He said 12-gauge cut to 2-foot lengths.
Cut to 2-foot lengths?
Yep.
I'm going to have to go back and look. Ask him if
First
he can.
6 inches is straight, and then 7 wraps around the Sharpie, and then 6 inches straight. Okay. Bent to a tight circle at the very top, wire 6 inches long on top also. So,
And it only covers a 3-foot diameter?
I guess something that size, yeah.
I thought it was more than that, but anyway.
Well, maybe,
I have to go
mean,
look.
that's what he found his instructions
Okay.
and what he's done, and maybe there are,
Others, yeah.
I
was watching them on YouTube for a while. I've got to go back. It's been a while.
Okay. I don't know if this is right or if it's a typo. I grew up in a legalistic,
Yeah.
church, and I don't know much about the Holy Spirit until I read the Bible for myself. I'm so happy to know Jesus is alive and he still speaks.
Amen.
So good, Carol. Something from back when you were right about something, I'm sure.
It's not even me that's right. It's God's right. It's His word. I don't know anything. It's just what He says. And you just have to agree with it and do it. If you don't do it, then it's like, you just going around saying God bless you to everybody and just pretending to be a Christian? Or are you going to be a real Christian? If you're going to really do what God wants us to do? I don't do it myself either. I've got to do more of what God says to do. And that's where my hope is that I follow hard after Him. And He'll work in me both to will and to do of His good pleasure, because that's what He promises. Amen, sister and brother? Sister.
Okay, let's see. Did anyone hear if she responded to, are we still doing births questions? I had to leave for a minute. Well,
Yeah, of course.
A hot minute ago. When was the last one you did?
What kind of what?
The last birth you did?
Oh, birth?
Yeah.
A couple days ago.
There you go. Still doing them.
Yeah, I think I'm planning on doing them till I'm 77. And I just turned 70. So we'll see.
How many do you think you do in a year, average?
Oh, I've really cut down. I was doing 3 to 5 a month and sometimes 8 or more about 3 years ago. But now I'm doing about 12 a year. I'm just not doing that many.
And you're not doing so much of the traveling overseas and teaching so much anymore, are you?
Well, it's because there was COVID.
Reasons, yeah.
With COVID, nobody did anything. Unless you took the shot and, did all that. But, all I have to do is start doing it, and then they start calling me. So I was supposed to be in Turkey and Greece, and I ended up being in Israel for a month. And then Turkey, because of the earthquake, they couldn't afford to bring me. And then that's when I was going to go to Greece because they're right next to each other. And then I've been asked to go. Like I said, I'm supposed to. My daughter from Russia came to me when I was in Israel, and she asked me to come to. She wanted me to teach in Georgia, but Georgia said she said they won't be able to make enough money there to be able to afford to have me. So I'm going to be in Moscow for about 6 days or something, I think, and then after that we'll be in Georgia and Armenia. And I think I might be able to teach in those. They're usually doctors that I'll teach in those kind of countries. And I'll be teaching 3 days in Moscow, doctors, parents, and birth keepers. And then I'm supposed to be in Fiji next year. I'm supposed to be in Turkey with a friend of mine from Mexico in November. I'm supposed to be in Africa for a prince in Cameroon. Invited my daughter and also me to Cameroon, and we're supposed to be teaching there. But so I'm still doing it. And that's another reason I think I'm not getting as many calls for births. But I'm still, and there was also a rumor going around that I had died. Can you believe it? It's just like, who's passing those rumors around? you know? In fact, a woman came running up to me. A friend of mine actually did die, and I was at the funeral or the what do they call them? The celebration of life. And one of my former clients from maybe 20 something years ago comes running up to me. I'm so glad to see you, Carol. I'm so glad to see you. And I said, what? And she goes, somebody told me you died. And I went, oh my word. So crazy.
So what you're saying is you're not dead.
I'm not dead.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I had a feeling, but I don't know.
But also there's been, according to some woman that works at a birth center in Paulsbo, she said in this community, Kitsap, Clallam, and Jefferson, there's 40 new midwives. I used to cover those counties by myself pretty much for a time. And so I'm not, plus people, if they want me, because I'm really experienced, they go out of their way to find me, And the younger midwives, they have to have their turn too. But at the same time, I really still do want to keep doing this. I feel like I should. And I have some good assists, that help because I can't really, I was on my knees, yesterday and actually or 2 days ago, she had a water birth and I bent over to catch the baby. I didn't have to get on my knees, but because it was coming through her legs and she couldn't really grab it. I had to grab it and stick it through her legs and bring it up to the surface. And, I can still do stuff like that. And as long as I can still do it, I feel to do it. And I do a lot of praying. I think God would show me if I'm not supposed to. And I wouldn't be getting calls. So it's fine. I just do enough to keep me with a little bit of money and also to keep me relevant. And when I teach, oftentimes I'll teach things that I can draw from the actual birth that I just did or a few births that I did, to really make it more real. Because lots of times I'll end up, it's so funny, I get asked to teach a certain subject and I'll just have that certain subject happen and I'll be able to explain to them what I did to do to resolve whatever, you know what I mean? It's really interesting. My whole midwifery journey has been supernatural. It's been something else. Even when my kids were little, because I had 7, he would say to me, he says, I don't want you doing any more than 2 to 3 births a month. And then I'd get worried about who would watch my children when they went into labor. I'd have labors, when he was home, or some neighbor that I knew would say, hey, can I watch your kids because this baby's happening? I want to be a part of this. Can I help you? Those kinds of crazy things that would happen. I'd get words of knowledge and it would happen at the birth. I'd have a dream and that dream would happen in a similar way at the birth. I mean, it's just been really an interesting journey. So it's not something I would give up easily, because I see God at work in really interesting ways, very interesting ways. And it's really edifying, it really builds me up. And then I'm able to share with the family or share with the people that are working with me, my students or assistants, certain things, and God does and says, and it's pretty phenomenal. It's not just an ordinary, thing to do for me.
And Melissa has a follow-up. How do I contact her for a birth?
Just call that number.
What number?
360-683-4477. Or look me up online and send me a text. I have my website is Gentle Births, plural, with an S, gentlebirths.net. And then you can see what my practice is like. You can tell my style by looking at my webpage, and you'll have a better idea of what I do in comparison to what other people do. You know, because I am different than many of the typical midwives today. I'm more natural. I'm more, I was told by one of my clients the other day that one of the midwives in this community, it was kind of a put down, I guess, but she said, and if you want Carol, she'll just wave some feathers over you. I don't think so. But anyway, I just said, no, that's not the way she practices. That was so crazy. Anyway, I'm not at all like that. I really do. I just believe that our scope of practice is way more than just clinical. And so I'm a counselor. I'm a paramedic. I'm a emergency tech. I'm an herbalist. I'm a, nutritionist. I'm a spiritual, guide or counselor at times. So my scope is much bigger than that. I'm a body worker. I do all kinds of things. I'll give you a back rub sometimes. I'll rub your feet. I'll rub your shoulders because people like my hands. They feel like they're, I've been told a lot that I have healing hands. And so when people say they're hurting, I'll try to help them, or they're stressed, and I'll just give them a back rub or something. And midwives don't do that stuff anymore. That's all the classical midwifery that was done 40 or 50 years ago when I was first starting. We used to always just be there in whatever way we could for women, and we didn't ever use doulas. We just were doulas ourselves, and we'd encourage the dads to be the doula, to take the responsibility and help the mom give birth to her baby, because it bonds them together much more, and it also it saves them money too, because they don't get a doula, and it gets the guy to really realize what this is, and all my clients really are all very enthusiastic, their partners, to really participate in the birth. And see, people are going around asking, oh, what does this midwife do? What's this style? What's that style? And if they don't want my style, they're going to go to someone else that's less that way, probably more medical generally, than I am. And they'll do all the clinical stuff and keep their distance and, professional. And I'm really into touchy-feely, getting to know people. And I love, before my clients have their babies, they know I love them. I'm committed to their best interests. I'm committed to their baby's health. And when I say to them, stop pushing, I need to unwrap this cord, it's too tight or something, they listen to me. They don't just keep pushing, you know what I mean? Because I have a relationship. And that's the difference between a clinical midwife and a classical midwife, is that, you really develop relationship with people. And that to me is preeminent for true midwifery. And I know I'm opinionated, and maybe some women say, well, I can't do that, I'm too busy. Well, that's one of the reasons I really sort of like the fact that I'm not so busy right now anymore, because I have less time to forget things, or, what I mean? I don't usually, but sometimes you can get too busy that you can overlook things, and that's not okay, or not have time. Anyway.
Paul, how long does it take for an apple tree to grow fruit when it's first starting out?
Starting out?
Well,
it's planted, maybe from
it depends on
bare root.
Depends on the size of the tree and the soil.
Mm-hmm.
But you put trees in that year.
They bear the first year, mm-hmm. because my soil's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, would you ever plant apple trees from seeds?
No, because it won't be the same apple.
Yeah, that's right.
See, apples are cross-pollinated, and so that seed has another influence than the original apple. So the only way to get the same apple is to graft something from an apple tree into a rootstock, and that maintains the same variety.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it that you graft like one branch into another?
Well, I do it very simply.
Like this?
Yeah, just I'll open up the wood lamp center and push the other one into it, cut at an angle, and then I wrap it up with black tape. The black tape keeps all the air out, keeps everything from moving, And because it's black, when the sun hits it, it heals quicker, so it really works well. Black tape is amazing for keeping.
And that's the just back. What do you call it? Cheap what?
You get the cheap Taiwanese because it stretches real well. The good heavy American black tape won't stretch, but that cheap stuff will really stretch good and really make a nice, hold everything in place.
And that's like the black electrical tape?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
The
works.
cheap Taiwanese one.
It works really well.
These people have quoted that term of his all over the place. It's so cute. The cheap Taiwanese tape because it really stretches.
Shalom, all y'all.
I just put some on my wire.
Have you ever considered putting in barley or ancient grains on your land?
No, because it's a lot of work to harvest, and it's just when you consider the time it takes and the effort. I don't have that, so it's just
Actually, no.
it's just much easier just to get it from.
We've planted grains, but we haven't planted serious. Our land's not that big either. We only got 5.5 acres. In fact, people come here and it cracks them up. This is it, And we say, this is it, It doesn't take much for God to use,
Now, one
It's
year
so
I
cute.
planted rice out there in my wood chips along the driveway, just to show people that you can grow grains without standing water, because everybody thinks you got to grow rice in standing water. And I just had it out there in my wood chips. I never watered at all, and it grew just fine. Did really well.
We didn't use it though.
No,
so.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying that you can
You
see
can
the
see
plants
it.
were healthy and had headed it up. It just did great, in wood chips.
See, it's getting pretty close to the end here. Let's check a couple more. Paul, will you ever do another tour of the property?
Sure, people are welcome to come. I can't physically walk through everything, but you're welcome to come. I can take you out there with my cart, my track chair. Then you can just walk around on your own, ask questions or whatever, and I can be there. But as far as going through the whole place, it's just not practical.
But there's no way to maybe just cut one trail down maybe the middle, and you can just slowly drive and be like, hey, there's this thing here, and then scooch forward another foot.
No,
like even one tour a year.
I can go out there and basically direct you to walk through there, but the trees are really too close together to get my track chair through them, because they really I put them in pretty tight, so it's not.
We didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah, and again, I wanted to use my space, and I wanted to get as many trees as I could without spreading them all over the place. So it was just
Okay. We have black walnut tree in our backyard, and this has been an issue for our gardening. Grass doesn't either, so I guess grass doesn't go around it either.
It's like a
Do
eucalyptus
you have
tree.
any suggestions for starting our garden?
well, don't plant it around the black walnut. Just go somewhere
that's
else.
probably step one.
Step one.
Step one, don't plant here. But I mean, there is ways to rebuild the soil from that area. Even if the black walnut tree was there, you put 2 feet of wood chips in and let it compost down. You're gonna have is the black walnut issue going to be on top of the wood chips?
You can certainly improve the soil with other materials.
Okay. Great stream. Thank you to Paul and Carol. Grace, peace, and to you all. God bless you, Paul and Carol. I've changed the way I go through gardening since the Back to Eden method. Hey, Paul, do you know Araccia? Ciaccia?
Z. What is it called?
Do you know Raccia?
No.
Okay. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure.
Zacchia?
Ciaccia.
Is it a person or a plant?
I think it's a person.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Zacchia?
Paul, would you do a tour again? No, we already did that. Hi, Paul and Carol. Sorry, hold on, let me just read this. Hi, Paul and Carol. Sorry I'm late. It's so wonderful to see you both. Blessings and grace. Peace to both of you. Cha-cha, like the dance. Okay, let's go. Oh, Do you know Ray Chacha?
Ray Chacha.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay, so what they meant was me going out into the garden and filming. Here's the thing. I take this week off for baby girl and I to leave the wife at home and just us two to go out and go camping up in Olympic Mountains every single year. And that's one of my vacations. And I stop by here because I'm in the area, hour or so away. I live in Eastern Washington, and it's a bit of a trek to come out here just to film. So we just came down from the mountains, followed some slow people, and got here, at 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Something like that. And it took us maybe an hour or so to get set up and
There
wait
was
for other
somebody here
people
before
to
them.
do things.
And you were out there playing
And
with your
then,
drone.
yeah, I got some footage with the drone, but it's already 6 o'clock here, and we still have other things, other commitments going on today. So, me walking around, I don't know, especially this time of year when not
Not that
everything's
much is going on.
Yeah, there's not really much to see. I'd have to plan for something, take another vacation, like in August, September, to come back out here and do it. I'll try to get as much footage as I can, maybe.
And not that much is going on because we don't have it this year compared to what we had before. So,
But the apples will still come in when the apples come in.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, the stuff is still going to
Right.
happen.
yeah, and so I mean, we could even if we end up doing this Rumble thing, I could probably go out there and do some of it.
And there is one of the things we could do right there. Also, from time to time, Carol and I chat, so maybe she could text me a photo from time to time when she sees something cool. See a nice apple on the tree, or see the raspberries doing good, or the blueberries doing good. Send me a picture, and I'll add it to as something. Okay, let's see. Pawpaw trees love black walnut. Okay.
They don't grow naturally here, though. It's more east, I think.
Can you help with pepper plants? Ours are drying. What do they need? Oh, ours are dying. What do
Pepper
they
plants?
need? Pepper plants, theirs are dying. Any ideas
I
on
don't
it?
know. I mean, just to me, just healthy soil grows healthy plants. I don't.
Can it get too hot for pepper plants?
No, peppers like heat. They
Okay,
like
so can it get
warm.
too cold for them?
Can get too cold for sure.
Do they need a lot of water or very little water?
Depends on the soil, probably.
I guess your soil.
Just top dress around them and water them good. And, if you overwater them, I think that could kill them too, right?
Sure. Anything
So-
excessive. Yeah.
Do you grow peppers?
We've grown them here. Yeah.
Right now I'm growing a few of them.
Also, kind of back to Eden, kind of not. One of my subscribers, Matthew, in northeastern Oregon, he grows peppers and a lot of them. And there's a video, I want to say it's about a 5-minute video of just Matt growing or talking about his peppers. So,
Well, too, is that we don't get the heat here typically. Now, some years we do, but we don't always get the heat, and we need more heat for peppers and tomatoes and things like that typically. So unless you have a pretty hot spot, and because our elevation, we're almost 600 feet, right? So it's
Yeah.
not as warm here as it would be closer to the
And Oregon's warmer than Washington.
Eastern Oregon especially.
Yeah.
Washington's warmer than here.
but he grows
Eastern
peppers
Washington.
pretty well. So I was
he's
just
a good
saying
person, yeah.
maybe there's something that he's doing in his videos that would work for whatever. Let's see. And last one. What do you do with dog droppings? Do you just rake it over?
I'll pick it up with a shovel and bury it, and
Our dog, the dog we have though, she doesn't really poop out in the yard. She's
she
amazing.
goes out in the woods.
Yeah, they think they know. Most of our dogs have done that through the years. It's really quite amazing.
I guess one last one. Can you overwater potato plants in wood chips? I haven't had too much luck with them in wood chips. Let's see. It could be that his soil's lacking something.
for sure, because my potatoes do great in wood chips. They do really well.
But I found that you can't really overwater too much in wood chips.
Yeah, because you see that if you look in the forest,
Saturates it.
this is a really classic. The rainforest over here gets 14 feet of annual rainwater. The whole rainforest. That's a pond. But if you look at the film, the girls are out walking in that forest, and the ground underneath them is not boggy, it's not soggy. And here's what I think is awesome about how God designed wood chips. When there's too much water, it brings it to the surface and evaporates it. When there's not enough water, it retains it. This is huge when you really look at how God designed nature so amazingly. It's just like it does whatever it needs, the same material.
Okay, any last thoughts for the world? Anybody out there watching on the interwebs? Do you have anything else that you want to say? Anything that you should have said and we didn't talk about?
Well, I just want to reiterate the fact that we really appreciate those of you that have been giving to the Give, Send, Go. And it's really, Paul's got a new bathroom, and we've got an 8-foot fence that's been, it's going to be a real blessing this year. We'll have lots more productive, because it was terrible how the deer would just destroy. And last year we lost so much food because the deer just came in and wasted everything. It's almost like they knew my husband couldn't do anything about it, and they took full advantage of it. So we've got an 8-foot fence because of you, and we are so grateful. Thank you so much. And that's what I want to do. And I want to say God bless you, and look for, hopefully I can get this Rumble channel going. It might be just kind of intermittent because I don't know what I'm doing. And if I get this Rumble channel going, you can do live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that hopefully will be helpful to some of you that are looking to hear from us more. So, and then I think that Nub said he'd put it out there and tell people if we start it.
Whenever you have something, I will send it out.
Yeah.
And is there anything that people can pray for you about?
If you pray in tongues, because there's a lot of prayer requests that we have right now. Lots and lots and lots. That's what I love about God. He's made it available to us, we have supplication, we have, intercession, we have all these different ways that we could pray, and God is just always so faithful to hear us. And I just really appreciate any prayer that you can have for us. There's stuff we can pray about, we can tell you about that, are really personal, and things that we probably shouldn't say online. And so, but God knows. And so if you just think of us, if you don't pray in tongues, just worship God and say, this is for the Gauchis, this is a prayer for the Gauchis. Praise God and do the same, Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and in everything give thanks. And that's our worship, And so I'm hoping that people will understand and really do pray for us if you don't mind. We'd love prayers. We could always use prayers. And a few of our kids are prodigal, and I just really, I covet your prayers with that as well. And there's just a lot going on right now that we're always under some kind of attack. We went through a really crazy attack with our neighbors not too long ago that was just, you could tell that the enemy was really angry about what happened in Israel, because there were some things that I knew God wanted me to do, and I did, and it was prosperous, but it was also really difficult, and the enemy didn't like it. So when I came home to this horrific situation, and there's always something going on, and when those kind of things happen, you almost know that you must be going the right direction, because you're getting some negative feedback because of it. And so we could always use prayer, as I'm sure you can. We'll just be praying, and we just ask God to bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you and give you peace. And that is really what we all need right now, is a good dose of his peace. Do you have anything to say? You say amen and Helen.
Amen.
The Eagle Arising says, what kind of help would you need for the channel? I have experience with graphic design, photography, photo and video editing, social media, live streaming. Maybe I could assist somehow. How could somebody contact you if they wanted to help in any way?
Yeah, well, my email is MID, like David, WYF. It's an old English spelling of midwife, MIDWYF at gmail.com. And then the phone number is 360-683-4477. And then Paul could give you my cell number, or you can email me. And I'd love, love some help, some direct help in that area, because I think that's all I need, is someone to really give me the confidence to know that I can do it, and just do it. I need to do it. I had a whole bunch of ideas that were really bubbling when I first got inspired to do this, but it got kind of all shut down for a bit. But now I'm ready to do it again. I think it just might not be consistent at first, because like I said, I'm the one that's going to have to do it, and it would be, unless my son does it with my husband, and my youngest son, he even said that he'd write some licks for us, so there'd be music playing in the background, because he's quite a good musician. He just doesn't do it anymore. He's a photographer now, and
And a good one.
yeah, he's a very good photographer. And but he said he'd do some background music for us, original. And anyway, so it's coming together. It's just slow, and we'll probably use Rumble, because maybe we'll even do YouTube and have it transferred over to Rumble. There's been all kinds of suggestions. I'm not sure how it's all going to come together yet, but I'd like to be able to say what we want and not worry about all this politically correct stuff, But it was really cool, because I was wondering whether or not I should go do this teaching, to these different trips that I had to go to. I was going to New Hampshire, and then I went to Israel. And I was a little worried, because I was concerned about Paul's health, and this guy that's really a proven prophetic voice in our community. He came, and he didn't know anything about it. He just said, those trips that I'm telling you to go to, I want you to go. And that's the first thing that came out of his mouth. And then he started saying something about, Paul, you can't really walk so well anymore and can't get around very easily. But he says, I'm going to put you on the internet and send you all over the world. That was a prophetic word, right? Mm. And he started to cry, like he's about to do right now. So he can feel, he can feel more vital. Because I love this guy. We've been up and down and all around, and life's been pretty difficult lately, but I'm sorry. But I know he needs hope. He needs encouragement, Feels like he's been bucked off a horse a couple years ago, and, I feel like it's really kind of gut punched us. And I feel like we really need some encouragement, and I think that would be really encouraging to him to get online and feel, more like, he can do something besides trying to make it out there in the garden every day, But, we invite you guys to come anyway, to call. He likes to talk to people about what they need to know or to learn, to encourage you. And then in turn, it encourages him, because, God's got a storehouse. And, like I said, he's a man of the word. And if you have some spiritual counsel that you could use help with or something, whatever, I know that he'd be there for you if he can be, Just use discretion.
He says, Paul, you've been a godsend to me in my time of need. God has used you in just that way with me.
Does he know, Paul?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think just from being seen on, the documentary and having these chats and stuff like that. Paul, you're an amazing man.
Thank you for appreciating.
This one says, Paul, you're an amazing man. And with that, I think we're going to call it a stream because my daughter and I have places to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
This says,
Have
keep
fun.
going, as they say in Puerto Rico, pa'lante.
Adelante, adelante.
P-A-L-A-N-T-E.
Pa. Lante.
Why?
Palante.
Palelante. Why? Paul Celio.
Ecilio?
Okay.
Not Y Paul, but
I
Ecilio.
don't know. I don't sprechen the English.
I mean, you don't speak in the Spanish.
Oh, that one too. Paul, you have inspired the world with your garden more than you know. And thank you for all you do. God bless. Bye-bye, everybody. And with that, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Say bye to the peoples.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Well, that's all I have for this video. Bang around that bell icon if you want to be notified when new videos come out. Call us on the hotline if you have comments or questions and want to be featured in an upcoming video. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. Check us out on the website, and we'll see you guys on the next one.